Have you ever been totally stuck on two tenses that sound almost the same, but mean completely different things? Yeah, you are not alone. Today, we're going to tackle one of English grammar's biggest head scratchers, the past simple versus the present perfect. Let's crack this thing wide open. So let's start with a classic. Which one of these is actually correct? I worked here for 2 years, or I have worked here for 2 years? Well, the tricky answer is they both can be. But, and this is a big but, their meanings are worlds apart. One of them means you've already packed your desk and left, and the other means you're still there. By the time we're done here, you're going to know exactly which is which and why it matters so much. To really figure this out, we're going to drop into a real-world scenario where every single word counts. A job interview. Let's follow an applicant named Paul who's being interviewed by Lynn, the manager. Paul's answers and the tenses he chooses are going to be our roadmap to mastering this whole tricky timeline thing. Okay, so the interview kicks off. Lynn asks a pretty standard question, right? Tell me about your last job. Let's really listen in and pay close attention to the grammar Paul uses in his answer. Aha, did you catch that? Paul says, I have worked. He's using the present perfect. Now, that one little choice, it tells Lynn something absolutely crucial about his current employment. But what is it? Let's break that down right now. So this brings us to our first big idea, what I like to call the bridge to now. We're going to dive into Paul's answer to really get a grip on the present perfect. And honestly, the best way to think about this tense is like a bridge. It's a bridge that connects something that happened in the past directly to what's happening, well, right now. So here's the deal. The present perfect is for an action that kicked off in the past, but is still going on, or, and this is important, it has a very real result that you're feeling in the present. You know, like if you say, oh no, I've lost my keys. The action of losing them happened maybe an hour ago, but the result, you're locked out of your house, is happening right now. It's our bridge tense for sure. This timeline just makes it so clear, doesn't it? This visualizes Paul's answer perfectly. You can see his job started way back in 2024, but that arrow, it stretches all the way up to now. What does that mean? It means he still works there. His job is an unfinished story connecting the past to this very moment. So the rule of thumb is pretty simple. We use the present perfect for unfinished business, for time periods that aren't over yet. It's the tense that answers the question, how long? And you'll often see it with clue words like for and since. By saying, I have worked, Paul sent a crystal clear signal to Lynn that he is still employed. No confusion at all. Okay, so Lynn's got the picture on his current job. Now she pivots. She's asking about a totally different experience from Paul's CV, something from further back in his past, his time working in Spain. This is a completely different context. And whoa, listen to that. Boom. Did you catch the switch? Paul says, I worked in Spain. I moved back. He totally changed his tense. He's not using that bridge to the present anymore. So why the change? Let's find out. Okay, now we're looking at things that happened back in the day. Paul's time in Spain is over and done with. It's a finished chapter in his life. And for those kinds of completed stories, we need a whole different grammar tool, the past simple. The past simple is for any action that is completely 100% finished. It started in the past and it ended in the past. Unlike our bridge tense, there is zero connection to what's happening now. It's best to think of it as a specific, isolated moment in time. And this timeline shows you exactly what I mean. See that? It's just a single dot in the past, labeled worked in Spain. It's a finished event, totally separate from the now marker over on the right. The arrow doesn't continue. That story is over. So you use the past simple for actions that are done and dusted, especially when you know the specific time. It's the tense that answers the question when, and you'll see it with signal words like ago, last year, or in 2010. Paul said 2 years ago, and that little word locked his action firmly in the past. He had to use the past simple verb moved. All right, it's time for the main event, the tense showdown. Let's put these two side by side to make the difference absolutely crystal clear. This is where it's all going to click into place. So here we have it, laid out plain and simple. On the left, you've got the past simple. The time, finished. The connection to now, there is none. The key question it answers, when. As in, I lived in Spain, story's over. On the right, we have the present perfect. The time, unfinished. The connection to now, a big yes. The question it answers, how long? As in, I have lived in London for 5 years and I'm still here right now. Okay, Pop quiz time. You bump into a friend you haven't seen in forever. They're standing right there in front of you. The action of being here is still happening. So what do you ask? A or B? The answer is B. How long have you been here? You're building that bridge to the present moment. All right, next round. Your teacher asks you about the homework from last weekend. That weekend, it is totally over, a finished period of time. So what's the right thing to say? It's got to be A. I did my homework. That action is completed, done, and locked firmly in the past. Okay, let's bring this all home. And I promise, this isn't just about passing an English test or getting a good grade. Understanding this difference is like unlocking a genuine communication superpower. It really just boils down to this one number. 2. Seriously, just these 2 tenses. If you can master the difference between a finished action in the past and one that builds a bridge to now, it is one of the absolute fastest ways to make your speaking and writing sound clearer, more natural, and way more advanced. And this, right here, is the biggest takeaway. The right tense tells the right story. Just think back to Paul in that job interview. Was he talking about a finished chapter from his past, like his time in Spain? Or was he building a bridge to his present, like his current job? Your choice of tense does all the heavy lifting and all the storytelling for you. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Think about something specific you did yesterday. That's a finished story, right? Now think about something that's been true for a long time in your life. That's your unfinished story. How would you use these 2 tenses to talk about them? Because that, right there, is the key to unlocking grammar's tricky timelines.